We Say What They Can't Radio.
Welcome to SoulShare, a conversation focused on love, intimacy, vulnerability, and emotional intelligence. This is a different kind of relationship dialogue for those who want to make the shift from the ego-driven to more intimate, spirit-nurturing partnerships that satisfy. Because that's what Black love is. Black love is powerful. Black love is soulful. Black love is a love that you can feel. Give thanks. Peace and blessings. I am Sesheta Khepra, and this is episode 5 of SoulShare. And today I have
Anjy Dyer Monroe,
Stephanie.
Yes, and we're just coming off of the holiday Thanksgiving, a day of giving thanks. And was it anything? I mean, it was also a full moon. So, ladies, was your day like a real difficult day? Did you struggle? Because I really struggled.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Full-blown panic attack I had in the kitchen while I was preparing the meal. I couldn't even complete it. Alan had to step in and put his cape on and finish the meal. I just panic attack. Same thing happened last year, and I said I was done with all the festivities. I don't know why I agreed. Well, I do know why I agreed to do it this year, and same thing happened, and I was out of control. I just had to stop, take a break, and I even had to go and do some altar work and just meditate and oh man, that full moon.
Thanks taking.
This year, because my sister's pregnant, so we had the whole gender reveal, Thanksgiving, but it actually did not feel like Thanksgiving. I don't know, the vibe was just different. It didn't feel like Thanksgiving this year.
Okay, but you didn't have any emotional issues and you didn't struggle through it. You got through it okay.
I got through it okay.
Okay. Well,
Mine started the night before. the anxiety and the panic. And the whole thing, the conflict about even celebrating the holiday. It's me against my whole family.
yeah.
A friend of mine calls it thanks-taking. I said, that's it, baby. But, the panic and that, okay, I'm not going. I'm just going to stay home with the kids. It'll be quiet. Mm-hmm. They're crying, like, we want to go to Uncle Chris. So my brother calls me in the morning and he goes, I'll come and pick you up. I was like, I gotta go.
I couldn't, it was at my house, so I couldn't even cop out and say I'm staying home. It was at my house.
I was dying. Back was killing me. I was crying. Everything was
yeah, the tears, everything. Oh my goodness.
My son had it this year. He did not speak to anyone. He did not eat. He didn't speak to anyone. He sat in the corner with the screw face. I was like, really? So everybody was like, what's wrong with I don't know. He'd be all right.
What sign is he?
Aries, just like me.
Oh, Aries. Okay.
Because it's really a time for change. We want to see change. We don't want to see tradition, especially where people were hurt by this tradition.
Right.
And we're hungry, though.
Well, that's really what it was, just to spend time with the family. And I'm like, I'm over all of this stuff. No more,
Yes, yeah.
No mas. No, this is it. For me, I'm done. But we can also just use the day as a day to give thanks and express gratitude, as we should be doing throughout the entire year. So this, episode, I want to discuss gratitude for all our previous relationships. No matter how challenging these relationships were, we have to find something that we were grateful for, because we were, in these partnerships, for any length of time. So regardless to how it ended and, what negative experiences that we actually had within the partnership, we have to find something to be grateful for. And there's always a lesson to be learned from all experiences. So are we prepared to discuss all of these things?
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
Which partners were the biggest teachers?
My first true long-term relationship, He was the absolute. He taught me what I did not like, what I did not want, what I will not put up with. He taught me the hard lessons, the absolute hard lessons. Like, I was like, I'm not built to be somebody's parent. And that's what he was looking for. He was looking for somebody to be a mother, to do this, do that, tell him what to do, tell him what time to get up. I was his alarm clock. I paid his bills. I said, I can't do it. I'm not built for this. I need someone equal to me. So if something happens to me, I know that this person can step in. So he was my biggest teacher, what not to do in the future.
What age was that?
This was during the Mecca Ever phase.
Oh,
so
well, that's a great time. At least you learned that lesson early. You learned that lesson early.
My first, same thing, my childhood romance, my first husband, 21-year relationship, definitely went through a lot of challenges. We grew up together. And it's funny because after we broke up, I realized how much I haven't grown, because I'm like, is this what the world is like? I had to really be thankful for having the children out of that relationship, having my first 4 children out of that relationship, and I'll always be thankful for that. And our friendship, we did have a very close friendship. We were like best friends, but a lot of things weren't friendly, but we were definitely best friends. I have to thank him for that. Okay. Yeah.
Well, you know what? Well, for me personally, I guess the majority of my relationships hasn't been relationships per se. I've had friends with benefits. So those have been the biggest teachers. Yeah. And to this day, I still feel that the friends with benefits are actually the best dynamics, and then you flourish better in those relationships, because the friendship is what the foundation of the partnership is. Whereas I find that a lot of these, when you get involved in they're more ego based, and then it's that element of the expectations, the controlling aspects, and the possession and all that.
Relationship first, friendship after.
Yeah, and the roles.
Yeah, and
once you get committed, the conditioning is to take on a certain role.
Exactly.
These traditions
with the titles come expectation with titles and things like that. And I was like, I don't think I'm really good with all of that stuff.
Exactly.
I'm not good with all of that stuff. But yeah, so I found that those were, my biggest teachers, and I learned a lot. And I learned, well, I like to think about how to, I guess, interact with men, on their level, to make things a little bit more comfortable for them, so that they can, I guess, let their guards down, and because I think that's important, that men can have that safe space where that they can, feel that they can be themselves and talk, and when you have that friendship, out of the friendship, comes that level of comfort. So when you put that first, I think
I kind of went to the extreme of that in my last relationship, where they don't want to have you fix everything. But that's our nature, is to fix, make him comfortable. So we're almost going to be walking on eggshells. We're almost going to be, we know that's going to bother him. And you try to prevent things by offering and by letting things be, open and everything. But they want the challenge. They want the work. So like you said about wanting you to boss them around, wanting to have work to do.
Right. Okay.
And so, I was dealing with that in the last one.
Okay. So what are some of the greatest lessons that you learned from these relationships?
To allow them to reciprocate. To really, if they're not reciprocating, if they're not meeting you, you gotta, all right then, you gotta emotionally distant or deal with the other people that do support you in that way. I'm not saying cheat or anything like that. I'm just saying, give him his space, give him space, and then expect him to do the same when you're going through your things and you need space. Yeah, you have to allow them to.
For me, I've had 4 main relationships throughout my life. My first one taught me what not to do and what I will not accept. My second one taught me to be more feminine. Like, it's not, because I was really self-conscious about my size growing up. So I was always in baggy clothes and everything big, nothing form-fitting, something to make me look like I had size. So my second relationship was like, he was like, don't wear that. He was like, put some nice form-fitting dress on, or put some nice skinny jeans on. Show that, even though you skinny, show that body off. Show them what you.
While you with me.
He was just like, yo, show it off. He was like, don't cover it up. So he introduced my feminine side to me. He was just like, So, and my third taught me that I need to communicate, because I'm very closed off. And for me, I figure you should already know. So I shouldn't have to, I mean, it's my fault that I should have to expect you to be a mind reader. Like, look, this is what I want, this is what I need, and you should already know. And so now I know I need to express myself more. I need to open up more. Because I like to spend a lot of time by myself. And I guess that's where my reserved nature comes into play. So because I like to spend a lot of time by myself, I expect you to know when to leave me alone and when to be approach, when you can come in and when you can just
It's true. It's true.
So he told me I need to, people aren't mind readers. So if you want something, you got to say it, closed mouths don't get fed.
Right.
Yeah.
So my current one, I'm, applying a little bit of everything to see if this works.
Okay. So all the lessons that
Exactly.
you've learned up
Exactly.
until this point, now
I'm
you're
trying to apply it.
Oh yeah, hopefully it works. That's the whole point of lessons, So yeah, like patience for me was one of the biggest lessons. Yeah, one of the biggest lessons. And he told me, he was like, if you want to deal with Black men, you have to have a lot of patience. He was just like, because they're just not where you are at. And this was like, back in the Medgar Evers day when we were a lot younger. And, he just felt that at that time that I wanted more than I guess most guys were at that time. And it was just like, no, you're too far ahead. They're not there yet. They had to go through their stage and they have to go, and they're not there yet. And I realized that, I do have to, dial it back, and, everybody isn't there, and then I just have to see where they are in their journey and, just, allow them to go through it instead of putting my timeline and saying, okay, well, this is where I am, so I need you to be there as well. And you have to just because you can't let them, you can't skip steps. You know what I mean? So everybody has to, go through their process, because once you start, trying to force them to skip steps, then it's on the tail end. It's gonna come out, and you're gonna have a lot of problems.
True.
Yeah, and I'm really grateful for my friends with benefits and my male friends, for actually sitting down and having these conversations, with me, because it's like I think it made it a lot better, and I tried to provide better experiences. And when you hear the conversations that these men have amongst themselves, or they're when they're sitting around their platonic friends, their platonic female friends, and they're discussing their experiences, and you're just like, wow, when you get their perspective and you see how they see it, and then it's just like you really have to say, you know what, I have to really take into consideration what my male friends are saying and what they're going through, and then put that into my own experiences and say, you know what, this is I don't have to be that that chick that goes from 0 to 100 real quick, and doing all these things that that we typically think that it's okay for us to do because we're conditioned and we're socialized to do things this way, and everybody around us is doing it that way. So you think, and it's like, it doesn't provide a good experience for them. You know what I mean? And it's like, you know what? So why are we doing these things if the men are not having good experiences? What's the point?
Because sometimes we've had a lot of experience early on, so we're doing damage control.
Yeah.
But the problem with damage control is that we're already expecting the damage, so it's almost you're manifesting it also at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of a lose-lose.
Yeah.
They get tired of the pushing. You're pushing them towards that damage. You know what I'm saying? Even though you're trying to control it, it's also bringing
right. You're trying to play defense. When you're going in, and it's just like, okay, they haven't done any offensive moves yet. You know what I mean? And it's just like, and that's terrible. You know what I mean?
Where you're going with this.
And
you're not even gonna get to the second.
True. And you got to really, stop doing that, and just automatically assuming the worst, that they're coming in with ulterior motives and to do you dirty, and and it's like it sets the tone, and it creates an energy within the relationship that's just it's just not good, so it's not healthy at all. Definitely. I also learned that friendships matter the most, and it has a extremely high value, because you have to have that foundation of friendship, because that's going to be what gets you through that turbulence and that chaos that you experience. Because if you don't have that friendship, when you get to those difficult stages, it's like you're not going to want to put forth the efforts. Because I also realized that also watching my male friends, that they put friendship even at a higher level than their relationships. So like with their homies, that's always above their relationship with their women, the male code bros before hoes and all that other stuff like that. So it's like you have to almost want to become one of their
homies.
Yeah, you have to become one of their homies, because friendship for them is at a very high level. So if you're thinking that, okay, well, because I'm his woman, I don't have to be his friend, that that I don't think that'll work. You know what I mean?
That's funny. In my first relationship, I couldn't be one of his homies at all. It was like, I'm hanging out with my friend. Like, no, you can't come. No girls are out loud.
But
they had their fans, I call them their fans, the groupies that were around them all the time. But I guess they don't respect those groupies that's around them, the girls that get involved with their things. When they come home, they want to come home from something outside of that, and where they feel secure, where they feel protected, like that mother.
No, I understand what you're saying, because I don't believe that I don't want to hang with their homies. You understand what I mean? Because what you do with your homies is what you do. But I'm just saying, as far as the dynamics between you have to have that friendship, because I think when they have their friendship with their male friends, that's one set of dynamics. Yes, and the friendship that they have with their female friends is a different dynamics. And I don't want to be, in that. Your friends is your friends. They're not my friends. They're your homies, and I don't even want to.
I've had the opposite effect. Like my son's father and I, we've known each other for going on 30 years. We have been the best of friends. I love my son's father to death. I know that man will do anything up to this day, will do anything for me. But to me, I've always been the homie. Even while we were in a relationship, I've always been the homie. Like, we would go out with his friends, and it was like I was one of the boys. So I just happened to be his homie that had his kid. It's like the relationship never went to that next level.
Okay.
We've always just been friends. The homie. That's my homie. I could tell her
You don't sound
whatever.
like a groupie, you don't sound like a groupie.
I tell her whatever. We
like
do whatever.
Y'all on the same
We can
level.
go out and hang out, and it's nothing. I don't know where it went left. but we've never progressed past
Homie.
homie.
Wow.
Love him to death. I know he loves me.
But you know what? There's nothing wrong. You know, that's kind of good.
It's comfort. It's
Never
the
progressed.
safety.
But it works though.
It does.
You know what I mean? So
especially
that's
with raising a child.
Yeah.
You know, co-parenting. It works. Like his girlfriend and I are super close.
Wow, yeah.
But and she knows that
There's nothing.
there's nothing. Like I don't even look at him like that.
Wow.
Like the three of us can go out, and it's nothing.
But see, that's cool. Sometimes, you know what? So we got to redefine these relationships, and so, you know, and maybe that is the wave, and maybe
Right.
it should be at it because it's like, you know, when you try to do other things, it just never works. But you know, having a child by the homie, and then you know it works, and you co-parent effectively, and you know what I mean. And that sounds
And you're
good.
missing the.
That sounds good.
It does.
I mean, it beats you know the alternative where it's a bunch of drama
Yeah.
going back and forth and the fighting, you know, the stories that you always hear. You know what I mean? So I guess there's nothing wrong with that. You know, I would be grateful for that type of
Yeah.
you know relationship or whatever.
Yeah.
I
But
love
it is-
that, but
we
then
can
with
blend.
the homie, then you understand when he wants to go here or there. That's the tough part.
Yeah, it's just-
You see, then you
But
don't.
I was always there. It was always me with him and his homies. So I was basically the homie. I was one of the homies. I was never the girlfriend. I was always the homie.
Okay.
I was the homie till we got married with my first.
See, I don't. You know what? I don't want to hang out with your homies. I just think that dynamic of that relationship that you have with your homies, I don't want to know what that's like. You're supposed to have that space where you can be whatever you want to be, and you know what I mean. And I don't have to bear witness to what you do with your. I don't want to know. You know what I
Right,
mean? And it's just like we can be homies and we go hang out. You know, because I have friends who and male friends who I hang out with. You know that. Alan doesn't hang around with, and and I prefer it that way, just like his friends. I don't know, no. And he tries to get me like to go to his car shows, and I don't want to go. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't want to do that. And it's like we've been together so long, and for the last 18 years, he just wants me to go to these car shows and travel out of state. Yeah, and then when his friends come over at the house, and it's just like they're hanging out in the man cave. I'm in the bedroom. Go do you? You know what I mean? It's just like, okay, you want a sandwich? You want a drink? No. Other than that, all right, I'll be in the room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then you just let me know when it's safe to come out. That's it. I don't care. I don't need to be a fly on the wall to hear what you're talking about. I don't. I don't.
You know what's important about the gratitude though? It opens up the door for forgiveness. When you can say what you're thankful for, it allows you to be forgiving to
exactly.
things that should never be excused, or would you feel like, oh, I'm never forgiving him for that. But when you say thank you, it's like, there were a lot of positive things to these, this is why we've been together for this amount of time. And it was positive because of certain things that we might not always recognize right away.
Yeah, and you're right. Gratitude is, a component of, forgiveness, and it does, make it easier to forgive. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people struggle with forgiveness is because they can't find within that experience what to be grateful for.
Yeah, like my first relationship, no, there is no forgiveness. There is, if he dropped down dead today, I'd be like, sucks to be you.
Really?
I don't see.
But you're grateful for the lessons that he taught you.
Yeah, I'm grateful that he taught me what not to do next time, but I'm not going to say there is no forgiveness. I've let that go, but I can't say, I
You're
forgive
not
you.
be comfortable in the same space.
We can't be in the same space because I'm gonna look at you all types of sideways now. Like,
I never have.
like
that.
he's tried to contact me on Facebook to apologize, and I was like, okay.
You know what? I have one relationship like that. and that's actually a coworker that I was involved with for 2 years, and it's just like that. I had to complete it. It turned awful, and it's still awful. He's like, and he stalks me, and it's just like and I had to even get,
So you could really see this negative side that wasn't
yeah,
apparent
and
before.
it was just like, I had to even, go to supervisors and go to, and it's like, look, he needs to stay away from me. People had to approach him, stay away from her, stay away from her. You know what I mean? I even changed departments, to go to a different floor. He followed
So
me,
he's
and he
controlling
came
that.
behind that to that department, and it was just like it got so bad, and it was like, and one of my homies, and he was just like, because I got involved when I first came to the company in about 98 or something like that, and my homie, he was just like, you know what? I am so sick of hearing about this dude. He's just like, I am so tired of you crying over this dude. And this is why you have to have these really good homies, and you have to have these, which I like to call my goon squad. He was just like, please just give me a picture, give me the make and the model of his car, and the license plate number and where he parks it. And he was just like, I will take him on a road trip, and he will be hogtied in my trunk in the Pennsylvania woods somewhere.
And it was like that.
And it was
My parents sent me to England to get away from.
Wow.
To get away from him.
See, but that's his control. He's controlling. He's still controlling, manipulating.
Yeah, exactly.
But after a while, when it got to the point where I was just like, it got to the point I was like, what's the move? We could do this. I said, I'm not gonna run. Whatever you gonna do, we gonna do.
Right, but see, with that relationship taught me strength, because it was like I was going to work in fear, because then even within the last couple of years, and like I said, even though this relationship ended back in, in the 90s or whatever, early 2000s, up until recently, he's trapping me in elevators, it was like I used to be in fear going into work, and it would be like I had to have my breaks and my lunch schedules to rearrange so that we wouldn't meet up at it was awful. But then and I said, you know what, I can't live like this, you know what I mean, anymore. And I just had to take charge and and start taking control of my life back. And he would come, and he's just like, I don't know why we can't speak. Yeah, why won't you talk to me? And it's just like, I don't need to talk to you. Just get out my face. And then it was just like, and like I said, it got to the point where I had to have other people, approach him, because it was just like, if you're not respecting, my word, then, but I was able to, forgive, and, and I'm, because like I said, I was able to find my strength, within that, and stand up for myself, because it was just like, I got tired. I just really, really got tired. Alan had to give me a taser to take to work, so I go to work every day with a damn taser in my bag, because it's just like, okay, well, you know what? If you, if I catch you, it's like now I don't even get on the elevator, with certain people or with him, and it's just like, look, if I have to pull out the taser, it's gonna be what it's gonna be, and that's it. You know what I'm saying?
And for me, I had to change that, I guess, that nurturing tone, like, okay, what is it that you want? It got to, once I changed the tone and was like, I don't care what you want. I don't care. Once I changed it to the I don't care, and you can go take a short walk off a long walk off a short pair, it changed. And it turned to him now being, well, why won't you talk to me? Why can't we do this? Why can't his tone change? He went from being the aggressor to, well, what did I do? Why can't we?
Yeah,
Once he told me, he was like, I'm getting married, I was like, hallelujah, praise the Lord. But you somebody else's problem.
But you know what? Getting married doesn't even solve the problem, because he got married, and then and they used to, and let me tell you something. It got so bad because even his wife, the name of his wife, it's not. His wife, his wife doesn't have my name.
Right. Okay.
He has No.
Oh, God.
He has the name of my sister.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it's just
Connects,
and
still a
every
connection.
right. So everybody came to me and they told me, they was just like, do you know what his wife's name is? You know, and it's just like, and it's not a popular name. You know me.
Yes,
You know
yes,
exactly
yes,
who I'm talking
yes,
about.
yes.
And you too. And it's just like now because of that, it's just like they're just like he did that because he's trying to connect to you. And I'm just like, I didn't know. It's like, are you serious? Like, of all the people, you found a woman that has the same name, and it was just like, it was so creepy.
See,
It's so creepy.
That's
it's
what I'm
creepy.
saying.
Start
That becomes
going
that
straight.
challenge. What she said about when you go like, go ahead, do you? That's when they start, and then you don't want to play that game though.
Exactly.
You just want to be
I
a
just want to
woman.
be
You
left
just want to be
alone.
yourself.
And that's where I'm like, I can't get the forgiveness. I'm like, yo, just leave me alone. Let me be me. You be great wherever you at.
But you know
But
what?
no.
I had to because if I didn't forgive, then I would be angry. And if I did, I would be angry, and I would constantly be in fear and be afraid. So I had to forgive, and I just, had to say, you know what, that's on his, that's,
It's his
that, yeah, you know what I mean? And I just said, you know what, I'm just grateful that it didn't turn out in certain ways that it could have, that it could have been, you know what I mean? And then it's just, I could have been a statistic, you know what I mean? Because, he's extra, you know what I mean? And, he, on more than one occasion, he did, get really aggressive, you know what I mean? So then that's when it's like, okay, I had to find my strength, and people had to actually step in and intervene because it did, get to a place. And it was like, when certain things happen, you don't want to tell anyone, and you don't want to, let anybody know that, your situation is out of control.
Right.
You know what I mean? But then it was just like, I just realized that I had to be open about, what was going on, and let people know to protect me. You know what I mean? And
Once he told me, if I can't have you, nobody else will, I said, all right, bet, we gonna do this. Like,
yeah,
all right.
and
You
that's
don't want me
play?
like this.
oh my God,
Not
that
the same
reminds me
person.
that
You
that
don't want me like this.
that I was told that back when we was in Medgar Evers, and it was just like, and this guy, and he said the same thing to me. He was just like, if I can't have you, nobody else will. And it was like, I walked around with a knife in my backpack for 2 weeks, and that's that fear again.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, and the thing about it is, he's a mutual friend of all my homies and stuff like that. So we were all part of the same social circle. So we would always be together.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, and then
It's a demotion for them to lose
And
in
it
that
was-
situation.
and it was
'Cause
just
now
like-
this
and
is
I
your
just-
girl. They call you her his girl.
it gets to the point where you just get so tired of being afraid. And we was coming back from, I forget what event we were coming back from. But we might have been just leaving school, and one of the guys was dropping all of us off. So all of us was in the car together. So here we are, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm done being afraid. And he was making little snide comments in the car, and I just said, you know what? And I told the driver of that car, I said, pull this car over, we're getting out, and we're gonna fight, and one of us is not making it back in this car because I am done being afraid. And I said, we're gonna fight it out, and one of us is not getting back in this freaking car. And then that was it. I mean, now we're good friends now. You know what I mean? We're good friends now, but it was like I had to stand up.
Yeah.
I had to stand up for myself.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until then that he got the message. You can't just go around saying that. And these guys are just going
They
around
say a
making,
lot of things that they don't understand the power that they have when they're saying it. They throw it out, and it's like.
And one thing you don't want, if you're not prepared, is to deal with somebody who's afraid. Because somebody who's afraid,
Exactly.
when they're afraid
Loose
for
cannon.
their life,
Loose
you understand
cannon.
what I'm saying? Then your life is in jeopardy when
Exactly.
somebody else is in fear for their life. So you just can't make those threats. If I can't have somebody,
You don't want to get locked up again, so you want to not be saying these things.
but it's not even like it may not even get to the point where you get locked up. It's gonna be where it's my life or yours. You understand?
Exactly,
what
and
I
that's
mean?
how I felt. I was like, it's either me or you.
Yeah.
So you want to rock?
I think
got
we have a lot of our men do feel locked up, even if it's not physically really being put in jail. They are locked in a certain situation, and they actually, it's like a passive aggressive thing to tempt it all the time, like to go on that line and say, and to have some be manipulative or have control over this just by these little phrases.
That's that narcissistic.
You give this away, you give my thing away, I'm gonna kill you, stuff like that. It's like,
yeah, but you know what? They got to get over that stuff. You know what I mean? And everything doesn't have to be so.
They don't even understand why they're behaving like that. That's a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But sometimes that lesson has to get taught the hard way, that you can't go around making those threats.
They're
you
dealing
can't
with
go
street
around.
code.
Well, you know what? You know what? You can't bring the street into our relationship. You know what I mean? It's not gonna work.
For me, it's just like he couldn't control the situation anymore, because I was already like, oh, I'm too through with you. I'm not your mother. I'm not doing this anymore for you. I'm not doing that anymore find some next chick. I do not care. And that's when it started turning, I'm losing that control. Okay, well, if I can't have you, nobody else will. I said, all right, you come near me. I said, first, I'm going to the police. I said, I'm going to the police and I'm getting my order of protection. I said, so if you come anywhere near me, I have the rights now to do whatever it is to protect myself, because you're not supposed to be near me.
Exactly.
I said, but okay, we gonna play this game.
And that's so unfortunate that, you know what I mean, that it's like they provoke these type of situations where now it's like you have to go to the police, or you have to go to some level of authority where, and like you can't get your emotions in check. That, you know what I mean? That why did there have to be some level of intervention? Where's the self-control? You know what I mean?
They're seeking that authority, like you're saying. They're seeking
that. If it's not mother figure, then it's
the authority is God.
Right.
So far, the authority, they don't see it, so they have to be faced with it. Sometimes they really have to see it. Oh, this is real. And if you're not gonna get angry, or you're not gonna, if you keep that much self-control, they resent it. They don't have it themselves. You know what I'm saying? And then they see that authority, and they're coaxing it out of you.
But it's like
it
gets to a point where you have to self-regulate. You know what I mean? And it's just like, you can't be their mother, and then you can't get one of your homies to always be their father. You know what I mean? And that's what I think. Like sometimes, I used to think that, okay, well, because my father wasn't around, they didn't have that element of fear where they felt like, okay, because my father was there, so therefore I can't do certain things. So it's like, but I had male friends, you know what I mean? So it's like I had to have that goon squad, make their presence known for them to have the, that fear, because my father wasn't there, but it's like, why do you need that? You know what I mean? It's like the same thing like you said with the street. It's like they have to have somebody who has to step in and say, okay, well, you know what? I have to give you guidance. I have to give you direction, because clearly you can't handle it, on your own, and sometimes
like
that can
you
go.
have to
that
have
can
a
go
Messiah.
You
have to have
it.
No, I'm my Messiah.
Exactly.
I gotta get to the point where I'm my Messiah.
Exactly, and it's like I guess a lot of them really struggle with that. But like I said, out of all of these things, it comes lessons, and you learn from all of these experiences, and it's just good. That it turns out, to be, not as bad as it could have been.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's it right there.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So, like, is there, like, any messages that you have, that you never did get to say to someone that, and tell them
I do tell them everything. I go off at the mouth. They've heard everything. They heard everything.
Not messages of gratitude, like,
like, thank you.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I let them know, I don't care if anybody else feels, that I should not do things. I tell them how I feel, like if I have to say my ex's birthday comes along, I got to say happy birthday and big him up, because he's my children's father. And it's so great. He's there with them now. Like, he's in Florida. most of my children moved down to Florida, and they're there with him.
Oh, okay.
So it's like he's taking his, and I love that he's working. We're all working together. I love that we're co-parenting. Still
Okay,
not
yeah,
perfect
that's good.
situation,
That's
but
good.
that he's there, and that we're friends. We really can talk about any subject, any topic, and I'm thankful that he's there in that way.
Yeah, because I like one of, my life lessons that, that I really believe in is that we always have to show, reverence to the people who deserve it and, honor those who've been impactful and inspirational in our lives. And like I said, even though some of those lessons come out of negative experiences, we still, have to, honor them, as it's healing. It's it helps us heal. And I really believe that the practice of gratitude, goes along with forgiveness, and all of this is all part of the healing process. So there, one thing that I'm grateful for, and it just came to me today. I have a friend who, and this is this was a friend with benefits, and the one thing that I was grateful for was that he never set the expectation that he was gonna see me or we was gonna see each other and then not show up. And I've had that experience in the past where, where guys will say, oh, they're gonna do something, or they're coming here, they're gonna take you here, they're gonna do this and da-da-da-da-da, and then they never show up, and they always leave you disappointed and, stand you up. And I was just like, you know what? This guy never did that. If I said to him, you know what, oh, I need to see you, and it's like, I'm the type of person, it's like, and what I would say to him, I was just like, okay, I need to calibrate my spirit. And it's like, because, seeing him, brings me a level of peace sometimes. So it's just like, so once I told him, I was like, okay, I need to see you, are you going to be at this event, or are you going to be there? And if he wasn't planning on going, he'd be like, I didn't plan on going to, but, I can show up, and he would make sure and, allow me that experience, and it's like, and if he couldn't make it, he'd be like, well, I can't make it because, I have to, lend my support, in another place. But if he says he's going to be somewhere, he's going to be there, and that's it. And he would never set the expectation that he's going to be somewhere and then don't show up, and then, you just left there stuck. And and I've had so many experiences with that, and and that's, and even with my hubby, that that was one of my pet peeves with Alan in the beginning. It was just like, why do you do that? Why do you overbook yourself? It's like, you make plans with me, you make plans with the homies, you make plans with this and this and this, and then it's like you don't show up, and then it's like you say you're gonna do this, and it's just like that to me. It's just
it's also part of trust. Like, I can't trust your word now.
Right.
Like, you tell me that it means nothing to me. I might as well do what I got to do, because I'm not even sure whether you're going to be there. So, if you show, you show. If you don't, you don't. I don't want to get let down, because now you letting me down.
Yeah, exactly. And to me, it's almost like
you're humiliating me.
And it's right, and it's almost, to me, it's like almost like a control tactic, because you wanna make sure where I'm where I'm gonna be, even if you're not there. You're gonna send me there to be there, so that what I mean. Meanwhile, you're going to do something else, but now I'm at this place expecting to see you. So of course now, because I'm expecting to see you, I'm not making plans to do anything else with anybody else. And it's like, so now, what I mean, by default, you controlled my behavior, even though you're still free to do what what you're doing. Yeah, so
that's what my recent he does this.
So I was just like, what, I'm great. This person never ever did that. He never said that, that expectation that he was going to be. Yeah, he always
Well, that was
kept
his
word.
value as it's your value. That's where you had compatibility. But there's not to say that somewhere else there was going to be a lot of tension.
Well,
yeah,
of course, there's a lot of tension. That's
Yeah,
what I
your
said.
match
That was
right
what
there.
I was grateful for.
I see.
I was grateful that, he was not one
Sometimes
of
we'd
those.
be grateful for that little thing, but then the cost of that.
But you still gotta find that, even if it's a little small thing, which I don't think is that small. Because it's like you said, it's a trust thing. You know what I mean? And and his word, means something, and sometimes that's all you have is your word. And if your word isn't good, you know what I mean, there's a problem with that. You know what I mean? So at least I know that, his word is good. And so therefore that also led me to believe, or that, now I realize everything that he says, you know what I mean? His word is his bond. His word is good. So all the things that I probably might have been second guessing, I shouldn't have been second guessing.
But we can't think like that though, because that's what happens when they don't tell you we can't make it, because they don't want to get the hurt. They don't want to hear you say, "Oh, but I miss you." They don't want to hear it sometimes, and so they avoid the contact at all. To come back later and be
that's cowardice.
It is.
That's cowardice. Okay, that's it's straight up cowardice.
But they'll say, I did, and then they don't want to feel that responsibility, and then after that, if you take that one step, it's like he's giving you an inch. But you're gonna say, if I trust you here, I could trust you throughout the whole. He's not giving you
a damn thing. That's for him, and that's that. You know what I mean? That's his cowardice. That has nothing to do with protecting
when
you.
When he comes to meet you there then he feels like he might be leading you on to where to places that he can't handle being with you, like in a deeper, like, okay, I can trust him, and I'm consistent with that. So now
we're at that next level.
Yeah, he doesn't want you to feel like there's more than just
what
here
he
for
can
you today,
right?
So then,
just say that.
Just say that. Because, like I said, that's that cowardice. You know what I mean? And
they don't know what to say.
And it's like that sucks.
They don't say. What is it?
Yeah, but like I said, that's why I appreciate those that are not cowards, those that are true to the end. When there's no reason to, and that's why I said, that's why I think friendship, is so significant, because then if somebody's your friend and you really value the friendship, you're not gonna lie to the friend. But then when you start having these relationships that's not grounded in friendship. And
I wouldn't say so it's cowardice, because sometimes we go through very negative experience with past girlfriends or boyfriends, and you're just like a girl sending somebody to jail, stuff like that. And if I get too close to her, she'll have that power over me to do that whenever, because somebody could have been so manipulative to them. So then it's you might say it's cowardice, but it's like their self-preservation. It's almost like self-preservation.
But self-preservation actually comes out of fear. You know what I mean?
We need fear. We need to have. It's good to have fear, right? But I'm saying when you have a negative relationship, like prior to the one that you're in, it's not always easy to like. You're afraid to take that next step because now you have to leave yourself vulnerable to.
But how many times have we discussed vulnerability already?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you, at some point, could you imagine that
you just gotta let it go.
Could you imagine if we let our experiences, say that, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna take that leap.
We gotta be
like
correction officers.
With a gun.
We gotta be like correction officers.
I'm not gonna do the love thing again.
We need to be strapped. We need to have bars. We need to be.
I'm not gonna do the love thing again because
for them to feel secure.
Because of past experiences, and I can't. You know what I mean? I can't.
It's
Just
too
because
much energy to keep it with you. I'm like, it takes too much energy. I'm like, yo, to keep all that negative baggage with you.
Right, exactly. And it's like they're holding it on, you know what I mean? Like a backpack, you know what I mean? And it's just like, yo, let that go.
Because so much time goes into it, it becomes their comfort zone, their safety zone, even if it's hurting them. It's like, it's what they know.
And it's like, and I even find it's like the stuff, and they say women hold grudges. Oh my goodness. Men can hold a grudge, and and the stuff that they remember, and I'm just like,
we spoke about that.
We had this conversation. It's like, conversations and things that happened years ago, and then they bring it up, and then they play back everything step by step. If they have a point to make, some of them are very detail oriented, and they'll play back everything that you did. And I'm just like, wow. If I was like that, I just couldn't imagine. It's like, no, I forgave and I let those, all those things that you did hurt me. I let that stuff go because I can't walk around holding on to that stuff. But they're holding on to it because I think for them, it gives them like a victory. You know what I mean? So it's like if they can throw stuff in your face, and I guess that's why most people hold on to certain things, because
you never know when you need that in your back pocket to be like, yeah. Bam! Remember when?
Who wants to do that?
No, but I can say thank. I have one that I can say. I'm so thankful for that deep massage and that slow love making, like about that whole night and day straight through. Like we didn't know what time it was when we stopped. I'm thankful for that.
For the slow stroke.
Yeah, for the slow.
Yeah, that slow stroke. Yeah, that's a lot to be grateful for.
You taught me that we can go that far. That my body can actually go that far. Yeah. No pain.
Yeah. You have me, going through. Yeah.
Thank you for that. One of them is like, a man should know how to make love to his woman. Yes, she should. Just like, sit back and take this. Yes, she should.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And because some of them don't. Because some of them really don't understand, the art of doing that.
And it's the same one that goes, you can't handle me. Because I need this. The other day, he sends me a video, like, prostate cancer. Like, if that sex could reduce the chances of prostate cancer, but it has to be about 21. It has to be 21 times of ejaculation for that safety with the prostate cancer, for the protection. So he's like, I need to do it 20. I need to ejaculate 20 times a month. He's not saying it. He said, but this is what I need.
So he said, like,
you can't handle me. You're not going to take 20 times of ejaculation. And I say, yeah, well, it makes women young. We can work on this.
I want to know the source of that information.
What's the
source of that information? Because they will try anything.
He sent me that video quick.
I need citations. I need references.
What's the scholarly, text that supports this? You know what I mean? I don't want to see a meme that's on social media. What's the scholarly text that supports this?
On this? I got it. I'm gonna send you the link. It's true. I'm like, okay, we can work on this because that's my founding of youth. We need that.
Wow. Well, we got to bring the show to a close, and for this weekend, where, like I said, we coming off of the day of giving thanks, and I just want to say, you ladies, I am grateful for you being here today, and all the weeks where you're here. I am grateful for We Say What They Can't Radio, for giving us this opportunity to voice our opinions. And,
Thank you so much.
Thank you
For the platform.